just didn't get around to it.
It's just, you already know everything and pretty much
Yes,
discussed
yes,
exactly
yeah.
what happened.
That's what I tell everybody. I know everything. What I don't know doesn't need to be known.
That's right. Well, I mean, you lived it, you know.
Guitar in public, saying this old guitar. But
Yeah.
now I'm going to practice singing.
This time, I'd like to call the Human Services Committee to order. If we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If the clerk could please take the roll.
Commissioner Angie, Commissioner Trello,
Here.
Commissioner Smasko,
Here.
Commissioner Felix,
Here.
Commissioner Rushing,
Here.
Commissioner Vandenbosch,
Here.
Commissioner Beeden.
Present. Are there any additions, changes, or deletions to the agenda? Hearing
Make-
none.
Make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Thank you. Support. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Citizens wishing to be heard this evening, I'm going to start with Joe Reedy. If you would, you have 3 minutes at the podium. Could you speak into the microphone so we can hear you properly? Thank you.
Here we go. Oh,
Yeah.
I was wondering which commissioner sat on the Veterans Committee or,
Which committee?
The veterans.
Veterans. Who signed a veterans?
Veterans?
yeah,
That would be me.
that would be you.
Yes. Just got appointed this year.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay. So,
I got the calendar and I plan on attending some meetings, so.
okay, I appreciate that, because there's been some time lapse at the local office, and the veterans will be encouraged to see you there.
Plan to be at the next one.
Julie McCoy, the CMH Board.
Good evening. My name is Julie McCoy, and I'm here to support Rosella Mirabelli reappointment to St. Clair County Community Mental Health Board. Her excellent record of service has been exemplary, and it is essential that she continue in her role for the welfare of our friends, neighbors, and loved ones who share her commitment to those she serves. I've known Rosella and her family for several years as a friend and fellow advocate for community members with developmental disabilities. Rosella's son, Paolo, age 30, and my own son, Nolan Walker, age 35, both have disabilities which require constant monitoring of most aspects of their daily lives. Boundless energy, patience, and love are required to care for our children and so many others like them right here in our own community. Paolo Mirabelli has a mother who has advocated for his education, health, and safety consistently throughout his life and extended her efforts to many others. Rosella has the firsthand knowledge and daily experience we all value in our board members. Her dedication to everyone in our IDD community is unwavering and long proven, and hers is a lifelong commitment. Because Rosella's understanding of the population she serves is unique, we trust her to make sound decisions on our behalf. The board needs her expertise, and those of us whose lives she has changed and enriched need her to continue in her essential role. Please retain Rosella Mirabelli to the board of St. Clair County Community Mental Health. Thank you.
Rosella Mirabelli, the Community Mental Health Board reappointment.
Good evening. Not sure I can top that. My name is Rosella Mirabelli, and I have served as an at-large member of the CMH Board of Directors for the past 18 months. Prior to that, I have served on the Recipient Rights Advisory Committee, the Advisory Council. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to express my interest in continuing my service on the CMH Board. As I previously stated at your last meeting, I have been a strong advocate for individuals with developmental and intellectual disabilities and mental illness. Tonight, I would like to share my story and how it has influenced my involvement with CMH. I have been engaged with CMH for over 20 years. My son, who is on the autism spectrum, began exhibiting various delays at 18 months. Consequently, I dedicated myself to providing him with every opportunity to achieve success in life. Like many other families, my husband and I experienced both the joys and challenges that come with parenting a child with special needs. My husband and I relied on both private and CMH services to provide our son with every possible opportunity to support his skill development. We found that CMH offers critical services to families, addressing gaps in mental health care and support for individuals with developmental and intellectual disabilities. Over the years, we've received services such as respite, case management, counseling, psychiatric care, and medication review. The CMH staff assigned to my son's case has consistently helped manage his care effectively. In one instance, my son experienced an anxiety attack combined with aggression, which required us to call 911 for assistance to ensure his and our safety. This incident led us to the emergency room, where he was placed in a room specifically designed for patients exhibiting physical aggression. It was an extremely challenging experience for our family. Fortunately, due to our established relationships with my son's caseworkers, the CMH treatment team, we were able to explore what services were available and obtain the necessary support needed for him to manage his anxiety and aggression, which can be a concern for young autistic adults. This is one of the many experiences navigating this system that has provided me with the knowledge and understanding required to be an effective board member. Mental health support is crucial for coping with life's challenges. Although I did not disclose this previously, I do see a counselor who helps me process my grief. There is definitely a grieving process for the experiences my son may never have due to his disability, such as higher education, work opportunities, various relationships. It is heartbreaking to see his typical peers achieve these milestones, knowing that many special needs children may not. As a mother, this realization is deeply painful.
Going to need you to wrap it up. Everybody gets 3 minutes, please.
I will.
Okay.
This board is not about our vision. It's about the vision of the individuals that we serve and the services that are needed for all persons with developmental and intellectual disabilities, and to have a full and inclusive life in our community. Thank you for your time and your consideration for my reappointment. Thank you.
Nancy Thompson, CMH Board reappointment.
Good evening. My name is Nancy Thompson, and I am currently the chair of the Board of Directors for CMH. I appreciate the opportunity to address you tonight, and I come because the decisions you make are going to have a profound impact on the well-rounded, well-educated board that represents the community which we all serve. As the saying goes, knowledge is power. A well-trained, experienced board is essential to navigate the complexity of the mental health code, Medicaid requirements, as well as providing effective services to meet the unique needs of those in our county. Our members have been trained by attending board works, participation on committees, conferences, extensive orientation manual. I had to show you because it is so much. We need to make sure that when they're making decisions, they have the necessary in training and education to make those become educated decisions. Yet, at this crucial time, we risk losing board members who have taken the time to become educated and to learn. For example, Rosabella, you've just heard about her. She is a seasoned board member, completed all of her board works, has been on the Recipients' Rights Advisory Committee for over a decade, and she brings the professional and personal knowledge. Additionally, we have Tony Eshian, who's been a board member for 7 years. He has become a valuable and trusted member of our Finance Committee, bringing a wealth of knowledge from his profession to help all. As a board member, I am excited to see interest in board membership. This is something that in my tenure, I haven't seen. If we've had a vacancy, we've had to go out and recruit new members and bring their names to many of the commissioners. I encourage those with serious interest that want to serve on the CMH board to start coming to board meetings and to come to different learning opportunities, meet with our leadership team or with Deb, and gain knowledge about CMH. Tonight, I urge you to consider the far-reaching implications for your decisions. I would be honored to meet with any one of you to discuss your concerns and reasons for the current need to replace many hardworking board members. I have spent my lifetime dedicated to serving others and making a difference in the lives of others whenever possible. Many of my fellow board members can say the same thing. I hope the decisions being made today are not political or based on single item issues, but rather to make sure we are helping serve all individuals in need of our support in the best way possible. Thank you.
Vicki Blackburn, CMH Board.
Hi, good evening. I'm going to pivot from what I was going to share because I think that the previous speakers did a far better job than what I would ever be able to do. I've been aware of the work of CMH. I've received services from CMH. I was a special ed teacher. I saw the exemplary work and dedication that they show to our students. You know that they have 7,000 current people using their services, and I have heard that that's expected to go up. So my challenge is I would like to see you follow the executive director's recommendation, and I would like to see you have the ongoing participation on the board of directors with Anthony Nessian and Rosella Mirabelli. And the reason being, these are people that have been local for years and years and years. You know, you have a 30-year-old son, that's a lot of time in the system, and in working through all the different things in terms of advocacy. So, cutting to the chase, I know that our chair has said that he'd like to be done with politics, and, you know, 2 hands up for that. And I know that a commissioner had said that he's not familiar with CMH, and then the executive director came into what I thought was an awesome presentation. And what I would ask is, before you make any final decisions, if you haven't gone to CMH, go visit. And that means you have, I think, 5 different places that you can visit, because mental health and caring about people is not a partisan issue. We've all talked, I've come to 2 meetings a month here, and we've talked about, with you, different issues, including drug addiction, seniors, and your families. So I know that all of these issues affect you just like they affect the other 7,000 people that are out there. So I implore you not to make a political decision, to look at the amount of time that these 4 individuals have invested already in the process, their expertise, and the fact that they have the backing of the executive director, as I hope you do. Thank you very much. And I appreciate you really researching this as much as solar.
Are there any updates from commissioners this evening? None? Any conceptual initiatives? No? No old business. Moving on to new business. 7A, the St. Clair County Health Department relocation, preferred moving and storage. This is for final action.
Make a motion for final action.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Good question.
Oh, sure.
Carrie, there are 3 bids on that. Can you shed some light? The recommendation was for the $43,000. Just lay that out for us, because the memo had 3. Which one are we picking? We're picking the 48?
Yep, I'll actually have Tom come up and do that. He worked on this project.
Okay, thank you. We usually take the low bidder. This one was the high bidder. They weren't that far apart, but
Good afternoon. So yeah, you will notice that there are 3 bids. The preferred moving and storage is the high bid. So what we did is we had interviewed all of the prospective moving companies. And what we found was Preferred had just an experience that couldn't be matched. They came with a reference lists. They've done things like the Carminos Cancer Center. They did East China School District. They've done projects that are similar to what we're going to experience with the health department move. Some of the other companies just, I think that they were coming unprepared for our meeting or understanding the full complexity of things. So yeah, I think what you see is the difference in price, is the difference in experience and difference in kind of the completion of the project. And this is certainly a project that we don't want to undersell. We have a lot of complexity with the move, vaccine fridges, things that we don't want to see damaged within that move, so.
that explains it. I just wonder why we went with that particular bid, but that's a good reason. Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
A roll call on that, 'cause it's a money one, I think.
Roll call.
Sure. Roll call?
Commissioner Torello?
Yes.
Commissioner Smasko?
Yes.
Commissioner Felix?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Vanden Bosch?
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes. Any other human services matters this evening? Item 9, I'll accept a motion to receive and file the Health Department points of interest for March.
So moved.
Support?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10, a motion to receive and file packets.
So moved.
Support. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Support?
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Let's call the St. Clair County Judiciary and Public Safety Committee to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Angie? Commissioner Beeden?
Present?
Commissioner Trello?
Here.
Commissioner Smasko?
Present.
Commissioner Felix?
Here.
Commissioner Rushing?
Here.
Commissioner Vanden Bosch?
Here. And get a motion for the agenda.
Make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Support?
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Citizens to be heard. Carol Miller. Animal Control.
Good evening, everybody. Why is it that emailing animal control is much faster than having someone actually answer the phone when a citizen calls? I get this complaint all of the time. I bring it up to you, Ms. Hepting, and nothing is ever done about it. Also, as many of you know, there was a pup blasted on social media at the end of the last month. I called animal control and again got no answer. I then emailed them with a reply only given after talking with the deputy. The deputy told me that the animal control went out and stated the animal looked the way it did because someone took a side view photo of the animal when it was taking in a deep breath. When I went to the animal control the next morning, the person that finally came to the front desk stated the family had asked, the AC had asked to surrender the pup, but declined. So what is it? Am I to believe the deputy saying that it's an inhaled pup that was told by the animal control director? Or am I to believe the girl at the front desk who said that the dog was not fine and it was going to be surrendered? I also asked how many dogs were in the animal control at the time. There's 36. So my next question is, why are you granting $200,000 to have an architect look at the day-night building to only tell you that they could not put 36 dogs comfortably, many cats and a goat in the building, have office space, an adoption event, an operating room, and more for events? Make it make sense. It doesn't to me. The animal control is at their largest budget ever of over 700, almost 750,000, and with the highest number of staff they've ever had. 2 staff were leaving as it opened. Nobody was at the front desk. Yes, I listened to 2 people talking about their personal problems around the corner. Bad customer service issues continually get called out on social media. Also, I want to read a portion of a message that was sent to me. These are not my words, but someone who wrote to me who is very prominent in the community. I know someone that had just did some work there, and they said all they did was sit around in the lobby and chit-chat, and she was referring to the employees, rather than take care of what they needed to. She said that there was one puppy that was in the garage because someone dropped him off because they had nowhere to take him and they were moving, but they would be back for him. In his crate, it was covered with poop, not to mention the blankets were soaked in urine. The person cleaned it up herself, so she knows it was that way. She was there a second time, and another pup was in the same crate but didn't get fed or let out all day. She went to the director, and the director went up one side of her and down the other. And she said, "We have a protocol to follow." She goes, "Well, it didn't get followed that day. How do I know this? I am that person." She goes, "If you talk about this incident, please do not use my name." I was asked to leave, and I think they take and run the place awful. I see how they choose to utilize what they have by paying people on the clock that are absolutely useless. It's very sad. Finally, I see Liz King and other directors that come to the meetings quite frequently and give...
I need you to finish it up, please.
Okay, thank you. Maybe animal control needs to have their director do the same. I really hope that you guys take and look at getting oversight for this facility. We need change. Thank you.
Any updates? No conceptual initiatives tonight? No old business? New business, memorandum of understanding with Blue Water Day Treatment Programming, Recovery Court, opioid settlement funds.
Make a motion to move that to full board. Support.
Any questions on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving on to a memorandum of understanding for community mental health, Recovery Court, opioid settlement funds.
Make motion send full board.
Support. Any questions on that one? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 2511, amending the St. Clair County's 911 plan.
Make a motion to move that to full board. Support.
Any questions on that? Because we do have the Director of Central Dispatch here, I believe. She loves to get up and speak. It's one of her favorite things to do.
Kind of like you.
Yeah. So I like to get her up here and just make her uncomfortable.
Could I request that she get up here and say something?
Absolutely. Tina, or Mrs. Bricker, I'm sorry. You knew this was going to happen, didn't you? Okay.
So, yes, do you have any questions regarding the resolution? It was 2 systems that have been in place prior to me being the director, and I'm just updating the 911 plan to catch it up to where it should have been before I even took the place of being the director. PFN is for the 911 lines, that brings it into the center, and TextD brings text to 911, which we use. So it's just updating the plan with the systems that are used in the county.
A question.
Yes, sir.
I had a call from AT&T regarding FirstNet. Are you familiar with that? This FirstNet, AT&T has a service called FirstNet for first responders. Does dispatch utilize that? No. Okay, does anyone in the county utilize that? Dave, do you know that?
It's actually, there's almost every one of the cell providers are offering the same or similar program now. Verizon just came out with, T-Mobile's got one, so.
I told them to send it to me, and I would bring it to the board in some fashion. I mean, they want to, I guess, they want to talk to
They probably came out 3 to 4 years ago.
I can tell you that, that my work phone was switched to that, and where I live out in Yale, I had no service, so they had to switch me back to Verizon. And I think emergency management and some of the deputies in certain areas can make that work, but I did not have success with it. And sitting inside the center, I had no service, so I had to switch it back to Verizon.
My understanding is that particular service provides some bandwidth, some dedicated communication bandwidth for first responders. So do we have something, Dave, for that now, other than AT&T, or is it kind of
Well,
hit and miss?
it goes off of their private provider, so if they chose to use that, then,
So if you're a T-Mobile person, you can say, look, I'm a first responder, sign me up to that, and then
Yes.
you get that communication capability.
and I talked to the same young lady, and I did suggest that she needs to go meet with the fire chiefs, police chiefs, and instead of going to the county, you might need to go to the municipalities
So
themselves.
AT&T contacted you as well. Would you care if I just refer that to you as the chairperson?
that's fine.
I'll just tell her, I
That's
talked to
fine.
Dave, brought it up, and boom, okay, I'm good.
And like I said, tried to get her to contact the Fire Chiefs Association, because this has been out for at least 3 years,
Yeah,
4
at
years.
least that, yeah.
And like I said, they're all jumped on board to offer the same service and with different tweaks. I don't want to say the same service, but similar services.
Yeah, that's first I'd heard of that, so I thought I'd bring it up since you forced her to talk. I thought I'd stump her with a question, but I couldn't do it, so thank you. I'm good.
Anybody else have any questions for Tina? All right, thank you very much. We've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Motion to receive and file packets.
So moved.
Support?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
At this time, I'd like to call the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners Environmental Public Works Committee meeting to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Angie, Commissioner Beeden,
Present.
Commissioner Trello,
Here.
Commissioner Samasco,
Present.
Commissioner Felix,
Here.
Commissioner Rushing,
Here.
Commissioner Vandenbach.
Here.
Are there any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda?
Make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Support. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Citizens wishing to be heard. I have one. Matthew Brusick? Close? Thank you.
My name is Matthew Bruzek. I'm a resident in Casco, and I'm here tonight to talk about the flooding that's going on in Casco. I live at the intersection of the Casco Section 24 drain and the Volmer drain, which subsequently drains into the Casco 50 section and then into Swan Creek. In the last 10 years that we've lived on our property, I've had the Drain Commission come out 3 separate times for flooding. And all 3 times, the Drain Commission walks the drain all the way from where it starts to where it ends and meets Swan Creek. It comes back, charges me for that, and says, it flows. There's nothing we're going to do about it. Today, I woke up to 1.5 feet of water in my pig pens and had to pull all my pigs out of my pens to keep them from drowning. The water is washed out part of Mayor Road and the driveway across the street from us, where our disabled neighbor lives. He's handicapped and he's an amputee. My wife is not here right now because she is waiting for EMS to get to his house so she can walk him down his washed out driveway so he can go to mental health. I'm tired of dealing with the flooding. I know my neighbors are tired of dealing with the flooding. I look to my south, my north, the west and east, and all of their fields are underwater. And it gets worse every year, and the commission is doing nothing about it. My suggestion is that this commission applies for federal funding for disaster relief. Agricultural flooding absolutely falls under disaster relief protocol. That would allow the commission to fund redigging of the drain, replacing the culverts with larger culverts so that the flow of the entire drain all the way through Casco and Ira Township can be improved. Thank you for your time.
Joy,
Yes.
would you please give me a call? I'm your commissioner. Give me a call anytime during the week. I return every call, and then I'll talk to Joe Stevens, Township Supervisor, also.
Thank you. Are there any updates from commissioners this evening? No. Conceptual initiatives? No. No old business. Moving to new business, item 7A, which is the landfill extension of lease of the Clair skid perennial energy.
Make motion to send to full board.
Support. Thank you. Any discussion?
A
All in
question
favor?
for Matt, if I could ask a question? Matt, yeah, real quick. These, the flare skid rental, is that, how long do you think that's going to go on? Is that until we do something with the excess gas, or how often are we going to be using this type of add-on flare? do you
I
think?
anticipated that question. My best guess at how long we'll need to employ that supplement of flare is probably about 2 years.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that we need that additional vacuum to our gas system to make sure we're adequately managing and containing everything. And until we have a very significant infrastructure upgrade to the gas system constructed and in place, I think we're going to need this second flare.
I know we're in an enforcement action with Eagle. I haven't seen any new notice of violations or anything of that nature, so I'm assuming compliance is moving along well, and this is part of it.
Well, I would characterize it that we have things well contained. We are not structured for the long-term future, and that's part of what I addressed with the infrastructure. And I can offer you that I had both of our inspectors from Air Quality Division and Materials Management Division visit the site within the last 2 weeks. They didn't note any issues, and they both also noted that there had been no odor complaints to Eagle filed since, I think, early October of last year. So
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I think we're doing okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
That's all I had.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, Friends of the St. Clair River 2025-2026 Stewardship Services Agreement.
Make a motion to move that to full board?
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, Materials Management Planning Committee, the bylaws.
Motion to send full board.
Support.
Thanks. Any discussion?
I had one question. Now, Bob, you're on that, right? You're on
That's
the-
correct.
Did that get straightened out finally? You're officially on that?
It is, yes.
Nothing, that's good. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, 2025 Survey and Remonumentation Grant Agreement.
Make a motion to send to full board.
Support?
Thanks. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item E, Parks and Recreation Commission Appointment.
We'll move that to full board.
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item F, the contract approval with Mead and Hunt Environmental Assessment Airport Phase 3 Threatened and Endangered Bat Survey.
Motion to send full board.
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item G, airport lease assignment and consent of owner, Lot 10, for Mr. Toms.
Make a motion to send that to full board?
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item H, the Materials Management Planning Committee reappointment.
Make a motion to send that to full board?
Support?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 8 is the Smith Creek landfill activities report.
Make a motion to receive and file.
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other matters this evening? for that? Number 10 is item A, the monthly Parks and Recs financial report, and B, St. Clair County Drain Office Neat and Drain Maintenance Notice.
Make a motion to receive and file.
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Motion to receive and file packets, please.
So moved.
Support?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn?
So
Motion
moved.
to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion. I don't know who does Ways and Means tonight? Oh, thank you.
Covering Ways and Means. What's it? You're covering Ways and Means?
Is that next? Okay. This time I'd like to call the Ways and Means Committee to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Angie, Commissioner Beeden,
Present.
Commissioner Trello,
Here.
Commissioner Smasko,
Present.
Commissioner Felix,
Here.
Commissioner Rushing,
Here.
Commissioner Vandembosch.
Here.
Item 2, if there's no changes to the agenda, can I have a motion to accept it as presented?
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Item 3, I have no citizens to be heard. Do we have any updates? Seeing none, we have no conceptual initiatives, no old business. Moving to 7A, Vehicle Maintenance Control Contract Extension for Valvoline Incorporated. Need a motion?
Motion to send that to full board?
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Do we have any other Ways and Means matters at this time? Seeing none, we have no information. Can I have a motion to receive and file?
Make that motion.
Support?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
We stand adjourned.
The SEMCOG thing, was that going to be here or on? They had it, okay. This time, I'd like to call the Community and Economic Development Committee to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Angie, Commissioner Beeden,
Present.
Commissioner Trello,
Here.
Commissioner Smasko,
Present.
Commissioner Felix,
Here.
Commissioner Rushing,
Here.
Commissioner Vandembosch.
Here.
I'd like to make a motion to make a change to the agenda to include a discussion of the I-69 corridor next Michigan project.
You want that under 7B?
Yes, please.
I will make a motion to add that as 7B, I-69 discussion.
I have support.
Support?
Thank you. I have a vote, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I'll
Motion.
make a motion to accept the amended agenda.
I have a second.
Support?
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. I have no citizens to be heard. Item 4, update. We have a SEMCOG update. We have the team here tonight to do a presentation, if you would, please.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. My name's Amy O'Leary. I'm the Executive Director of SEMCOG. Thank you for the opportunity to give an update about SEMCOG. I'm joined with Kevin Vetrano, the Planning Director, and David Struck, who works with us in the Community Economic Vitality Department. So we're all going to just give a few minutes about SEMCOG. There, perfect, thanks. So a little bit about SEMCOG. We are an association of local governments. So local governments choose to be members of this organization. And so you can see on your screen, that is the 7 counties around metropolitan Detroit. And we have 185 local governments, so cities, villages, townships, intermediate school districts, community colleges, and counties that choose to be members of our organization. You all pick delegates and alternates to SEMCOG, so thank you that we have 2 commissioners that are the delegates. Commissioner Beeden and Commissioner Torello are delegates to SEMCOG. Lindsay Wallace and Dennis Delore are our alternates. And so we appreciate their participation. The planning department in St. Clair County is always very active with us. So when we look at what SEMCOG does, I like to say it's in 2 different buckets, but it's within the areas of, but it's within the, I'm going to let you do it. Sorry about that, sensitive. Within the areas of transportation, community economic development, environment, and education, and a lot of different data. But those buckets are, we have the regional look, looking at things as the regional planning organization or agency, but also the local government assistance side of that within those areas. So we have some designations that we are the designated transportation agency for Southeast Michigan, the Air and Water Agency, as well as the Economic Development District for Southeast Michigan. So those are official federal designations that have us do some regional planning, but really we enjoy, and the heart of what we do is some of the local assistance that we provide in those topic areas. And all of that really goes to meet a vision for Southeast Michigan that all the people benefit from a connected, thriving region. And when we say the region of Southeast Michigan, we are very happy that St. Clair County is a part of that region. We've enjoyed working with you over the years, and thank you for your membership with the organization. There's a number of member events that you all can take advantage of, whether you're the delegate, but also all of you. Those are our General Assembly. The General Assembly is all of the members, all 185 get together 3 times a year. We just had one last week, but we meet 3 times a year. We're going to meet in June at the Detroit Zoo, and we really go over large-scale issues in the region at those larger events. We also have SEMCOG universities, which are trainings, and all of those trainings are archived. So if you're not able to get to Detroit or wherever the training is being held, we archive all of the trainings that we have. We do some grant trainings. So if you are interested, we give scholarships for grant management as well as grant administration. So there will be a call for grant writing for the July Grant Writing USA program. So that you'll see in our regional update, that opportunity. We also get together with our members, and we call them member meetups, and we try to see something new and innovative that's happening in the region to try to connect everybody to. I'm going to cover a couple of the planning areas that we work in, and then I'm going to hand it over to the team to explain some of those as well. We work in environment and infrastructure, like I mentioned, and a lot of different topics that you can see here on the screen, from our water resources to infrastructure coordination, materials management, as was talked about earlier, and also initiatives relating to flooding. So I just wanted to mention a couple of those that are more relevant recently. One is in the area of drinking water. So we have helped facilitate the drinking water monitoring system that is from Lake Huron down to Lake Erie. And all of those plants have had a system in place to monitor for if spills are happening, basically an early response system. We were able to receive an appropriation that for $1.5 million to upgrade the equipment. So we're very excited. We brought the plant directors together again, and actually it's for years, Marysville has been quite the leader in this, and Marysville's going to take the first stab at, they know what equipment they want to upgrade to, and so I think they're going to go first, and we're all going to learn from the equipment that they are going to be putting in. But just wanted to let you know that that is in the works. when it comes to materials management planning, we as the region are active with all of the counties that are going through and meeting these new requirements for materials management. So we do sit on all of those county boards, so hopefully you've seen our staff involved with that. We also, though, get all 7 together to be able to talk about what are they doing and learning from each other. One of the things that we did here was that it would be a benefit if we developed an educational program to explain what are these new rules, what is required for all elected officials to be able to have a better understanding of that. So that's something that we at SEMCOG are taking on when it comes to materials management. We also have a lot of environmental data, if that's something of interest to you, from the tree canopy in every community in our region to the wetlands and location of wetlands in the region, riparian corridors, parks and conservation land. So whatever is of interest relating to kind of the green side of things, we have that information in maps that we can share with you, whether it's the data itself or the GIS files, whatever your county is interested in. We have a lot of data, but the data is only as good as really helping to do projects. And so one of the things that we have found helpful is when it comes to certain projects, having conceptual plans developed for those projects. So we did have a program in the last year identifying potential projects to help address some of the shoreline flooding along the entire corridor. But we just highlighted an area in St. Clair County where conceptual projects were identified, and we were able to do some conceptual design and work with the local communities. We never do this without meeting with the local communities, finding the locations that make sense for them, usually in places like parkland, and identify and put together those concepts. It's the concepts that actually can help drive grant funds and other implementation. But again, that's really at the local level if that's something they want to pursue. So that's a project that we have seen very helpful and we're excited about. One of the other things that we work on is we have a legislative policy platform that covers those same topics that I mentioned at the beginning. But I think one of the overall tenets that we have is important to have at this day and age is the importance of local control and what that means for our local communities. And so when we look at all of those issues that we work in, that is one of the top things that we make sure continue to happen. So when we talk about our platform, we talk about local control. We do that both in Washington, D.C. and in Lansing. So you can see we were just out in D.C. in February meeting with our entire congressional delegation, and they were very responsive to the issues that we raise. One of the things that we have started to talk to them about are tax-exempt municipal bonds, for example, and how important those are for communities to be able to do infrastructure projects. And they were very interested to hear that, and they wanted to know about what are those projects in their communities that have utilized tax-exempt municipal bonds. So we're putting together lists of projects like that, especially in districts that have a lot of sway, including your district here. So if there are projects that you all would want to highlight, I think that's important to know. So in addition to that, we do quarterly roundtables, and they were over Zoom or virtual so that anybody could join in. And you can directly hear from our lobbyists in Washington, D.C., as well as in Lansing, hear about what are the issues that we are involved in, but also be able to ask questions yourselves. And we found that to be really well received. We had over 150 people attend the first one just the other week. And on the next slide, you can see we have 3 more scheduled in the code that you can register, but that's all available on our website. So if that's something you're interested in keeping abreast of with our lobbyists, there's some opportunities there to do that as well. I'm going to now turn it over to Kevin Vitrano. He's going to talk a little bit about our data and our master planning resources.
Thanks, Amy. Each of you, I'll start off by saying thanks for having us. Really appreciate the opportunity to present to you all today. But I want to highlight some of the data resources we have, both for the county and our communities throughout the region. One of the big tools that we really have is demographic data any data related to, I know it's small on the screen, land use issues, parks and recreation, housing, economic development, transportation, water infrastructure. We really want our communities, our counties to look at us as a data resource. If you're looking for a specific type of data, going for a grant or updating a master plan or a community plan, we want to be the first stop. We might not have all the answers, but we want to be a part of that network. And I'll go through a few of those. We have both the itemized data, so resources that look more tabular or graphic. We also have a wealth of maps. So I just want to highlight a few. We do a lot in the world of transportation planning, and the one I'm showing here is looking at crashes. Crashes throughout the region. If you're looking at any intersection right here, is just zooming in Port Huron Township. If you want to know the type of crash, whether it's daytime, nighttime, understanding the needs of our local communities, both at the regional level, but we really want to zoom in on the local needs. Same thing on pavement condition. We know if you drive around the region, anywhere you go, our roads are in tough shape in many places. We do PACER ratings for all of our federally funded roads and ensure that there's an asset management role to be played, working very closely with the road commissions as well as Scott's out here to make sure that we're utilizing federal funds and state funds as appropriate as possible. So for any road within the county, within your communities, you can get your condition, and then you can start doing some of that active planning, which we like to see. On the economic development side, several dashboards, several different tools at your disposal. Again, this is our Community Explorer tool, and this really, regardless of the community, you can look at it and break it down by population, demographics, households, internet access, bringing in some data, both from the census, but also local and state data, housing, economics. Really, it may not answer all questions, but if you do have an opportunity to utilize the data sets, we really encourage folks to do that. And then reach out to our staff, which really is the biggest extension, is our data is only as good as you have staff always available to help guide you through it if you're looking for an application or any type of project. I want to hit a few funding opportunities. We just earlier today actually worked on and we'll be announcing our planning assistance program, which provides funding to local communities or counties up to $50,000 related to transportation accessibility, trails and greenways, stormwater management. These are the ones that we found over time that there's been a gap between planning and then engineering and then actual development or implementation. We've got an interactive map on our website that can show you all the projects that have been funded. Just earlier this year, we did fund one in East China Township for River Park and the Bridge to Bay Regional Trail. So planning for a gap within the Bridge to Bay Trail. They'll utilize some of these funds. One of the larger ones we did a few years ago now, but they utilized these funds where the county did their trails plan and utilized planning assistance dollars to be able to develop that vision, that plan. The other big funding pot that we really want to get the word out and have folks apply to is our Transportation Alternatives Program. We get $10 million a year in federal dollars to provide funding to communities to do things like trails, sidewalks, pathways, some bicycle facilities, traffic calming, but anything that gets folks to utilize our system safely. There's been quite a bit of activity throughout the county and utilize these funds. On the screen are some of the more recent ones. So whether that's in Marysville for the River Road Bikeway in 2023, and then we got a few upcoming, both in East China Township as well as St. Clair for the Cox Road Sidewalk Project. These are competitive grants. We work really closely with communities to ensure that they've got competitive applications. And we also recently awarded a few CMAQ dollars for roundabouts, another one of trying to get some safe roadway improvements throughout the region. Last thing we did mention, we really want to promote it. Amy mentioned SEMCOG universities. We do have our SEMCOG 101 coming up on April 14th, just a couple of weeks away, which really goes deep dive into all the resources we have, and we'll have all of our staff there sharing the work that they do. With that, I'm going to kick it over to Dave to wrap us up.
Thank you, Kevin. Well, good evening, commissioners. It's great to be back and see familiar faces here. Just a few more slides here. I'm going to talk about two more resources on the economic development front. But before I do that, I just wanted to highlight that As Amy mentioned earlier, SEMCOG was recently designated by the Federal Economic Development Administration as the economic development district for the 7-county Southeast Michigan region. There's over 400 of these economic development districts throughout the country. And what that does is it creates a much more collaborative relationship between our region and the federal EDA for the different funding programs that they offer. And just, I know a few years back, I forget the exact year, it might have been like 17 or 18, but the county did take advantage of a federal EDA grant to do an economic impact study for the closure of the St. Clair power plant. So this is, those are programs that the county can take advantage of, and certainly as funds and programs become available through the EDA, we'll keep the county in the loop on that and try to be a resource to move projects forward. As part of that designation, we also develop and we update a comprehensive economic development strategy for the region every 5 years. And so our current strategy there, you can see that wheel graphic, is mainly focused on the pillars of talent, place, and business. And so we're currently in the process of updating that plan right now. That strategy is built from the ground up with a lot of community input. We do have a new Economic Development Council that has stakeholders from across the region. Lindsay Wallace is a member of the EDC, as well as a couple city managers from the county. So this plan is not intended to, replace any economic development or local master plans. It's definitely intended to be complementary to what local communities are trying to do from a placemaking and an economic development standpoint. So 2 more resources I wanted to share with you from a placemaking standpoint. We recently unveiled a new location analysis and visitation tool. This is powered by a platform called Placer AI. And what that is basically a big data platform. As many of you know, big data is ruling the world these days. And so what this allows us to do is really tap into some of that data that's highlighting visitor and foot traffic numbers to different locations and geographies. And so from SEMCOG's perspective, we are focusing on the 3 areas that we think communities have a use for it right now the most. And so that's parks and recreation assets, downtowns and commercial corridors, and then signature festivals and community events. So for each of those types of locations or events, we can provide, how many people are showing up to these locations, given any certain time frame. We can identify, where they're coming from. So as an event pulling people from out of the region, from out of state. We can look at sort of trends and change over time. So just to give you sort of a local flavor here, we have done some reports already for the city of Port Huron and for St. Clair as well. This gives you some sense of how some of the different communities are using this. So, we've heard from a lot of communities that are looking to see, how many people are coming into our DDA district, or how many people are coming to the Peach Festival in Romeo over Labor Day weekend. So just to give you sort of an example here, running numbers for Fort Gratiot County Park. So again, this might be something that the County Parks and Rec Commission might want to take advantage of, to get a little bit better idea of in terms of the numbers that are coming to county facilities, right? Again, we can manipulate the time frame so we can look back past years. I think we can go back to about 2017 or 2018. So we've seen a number of communities kind of look back after capital improvements were made at certain locations to see what the impact might have been. So you can see there, this is looking at 2022 through 24. So that first column there, you can see that there was about 67,000 visits in 22. Went down a little bit to last year to 57,000. You can see there's been, last year 35,000 unique visitors to Fort Gratiot County Park. If you look at the bottom there, like I said, we can look at visit trends. So we can look at daily visitation, weekly, monthly, whatever the situation is you're trying to get a sense of. We can look at the times of day that are getting the most traffic, most visitors. So, a lot of communities will look at this in terms of, when do we need to have more staffing at a location, or, work with public safety, or work with marketers and partnerships and things like that. Catching up here. So you can look and see, how long they're staying at a location, their average dwell time. We can look at, which days of the week certain locations are the busiest. So it gives you a lot of information to help with planning. We talk about grant applications these days. it's so much about telling a story. And so a lot of the data resources that Kevin talked about, including this tool, can really provide some deeper insights and help tell those stories for grant applications. And then just an example here, we did for the city of Port Huron with McMorran Place. I think you're all probably familiar with the improvements that took place in front of there back in about 2021. So they wanted to kind of look back multiple years and kind of see the comparison for when those improvements went in and then what the impacts of those improvements were. How could they use that information for other programming? Because obviously they're doing bigger things than just events on the weekend now. They do, like you can see there, they do yoga classes where people are going to spend a little bit less time there, but more frequent events. So you can see, we did a comparison back in 2021 when those improvements went into place. And since that time, you can see that the visitation growth has just really significantly grown. Even the unique visitors has kind of skyrocketed. So a lot of insights that you can get from using this tool. So certainly if that's something that county departments want to take advantage of, different events that might take place, definitely reach out to us on that front. And then the last resource I want to highlight, if we get there. Oh, just want to point out, so if you do, if there is interest in this, definitely reach out to myself or other staff, but we do have this on our website. There's a whole intake form on there. So you can identify, different locations, time periods that you're looking for, and then we'll follow up to make sure that we're very clear on what it is that you're looking for. All right, now the last resource I want to highlight is the Experience Southeast Michigan program. So this is a program that we instituted a few years ago. And what this is we have a videographer on staff, and basically he'll work with community to put a video together, highlighting what makes the community unique. And that's really driven by the community. So, we've worked with different communities that highlight, their downtowns, might be local parks, natural areas, rural character, school communities, every community is different. We've done these for large communities, small communities. So just wanted to point this out. This is something that we will do. We'll work with the community to coordinate exactly what you want to highlight. The finished product is a very sharp looking video. A lot of times it's music and there's just sort of real quick snippets of the community. You'll get the final product. You can put this on, websites. You can use it on social media sites to kind of help promote whatever it is you're trying to highlight. So certainly if this is something that the county is interested in, definitely reach out to us. We'd certainly, we've done individual communities, but certainly something like Experience St. Clair County might be something that you're interested in taking a look at. So, so that's kind of the Experience Southeast Michigan in a nutshell. And I think that wraps up our presentation for the evening. So again, appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. We're happy to answer any questions you all may have for any of us.
Thank you. Any commissioners have any questions for these folks?
I do, Bob.
Go ahead.
Your structure, now you guys are an association, is that correct?
Yes.
And it's not listed on LARA, so that's, what structure is that legally? What is that, an informal association, 501c3, what is that exactly?
No, we're quasi-governmental.
So you're a creature of,
right.
creature of statute? then?
Correct.
Okay. I tried to find, I couldn't put my
Public
finger
Act
on it.
281 of 1945.
Of 1945?
Yep.
All right, and then your bylaws, I looked at your website, and some of the stuff, like your most recent budget, it's an error message with the one before, 2324 is on there, about a $15 million budget total, is that ballpark? Something
Yep.
there? Okay, and then dues of around 2 million?
Yep.
Does that sound right? And then your bylaws, I tried looking at those, and I got an error message on your website, so I don't know if you could provide that, but I'd like to see I'd like to look
Sure.
at those. Just, it's one of my hobbies is looking at boring legal documents, so.
No problem.
So the last quick question, let you go, is your organization, your association, do you guys promote certain agendas for certain types of change, let's say like the smart city concept or some other concept, or are you there more like support where the members come to you and say, hey, we want to do this or that, or do you have an agenda that's driven by your executive board that says, hey, we're going to push this or we're going to try and do this? Can you tell me a little bit about the philosophy of your organization?
So everything we do as staff is driven by the policies that the board has adopted. So legislatively. We just went through the development of our policy platform for the next 2 years, and that was driven by a committee of all elected officials from across the region that put it together. So when we go then and advocate as the staff, we have we're very specific about what areas that we can work in. All of those plans, and so Dave mentioned updating our economic development strategy or our transportation plan. We develop regional policies that get approved by the board, and that really gives us kind of the license of the areas in which we work.
Are those published on your SEMCOG
Yes.
website? I'll look at that. So that'd be
Yeah, we can share with you those.
So I'd like to look at that. So
Sure.
that's helpful. Thank you.
Any other questions? I have a quick question. As far as some of these meetings, can you detail at what level the public would be welcome to come to these meetings? I like to hear that there's elected officials on these boards, but is the public welcome at these meetings, and at what level going up the chain?
All of our meetings are public meetings, so the public is welcome, and our meetings are all on our website, and they're all accessible. So, yep, the public is invited. I will say, honestly, as a regional entity, we don't get as many public people as you do, but they are welcome. We do have public comment and before all of our meetings.
Another question, Bob. Would you then, are you guys subject to FOIA and the OMA? You guys
Yes.
do that? Okay, good. That's perfect.
One last question. Are your meetings videoed or streamed if the public wanted to watch? I see him shaking his head.
It depends, is I guess the right answer. If you have a disability, the public can come into some of our meetings, but not board members. So,
I'm sorry, I might not ask it clearly. Are your general meetings streamed on the web? Can people watch them?
no, they're not streamed,
Okay.
no.
They have to come and
Although,
see them.
right.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Are there any other questions by commissioners? All right. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Appreciate it.
Moving along, item number 5, conceptual initiatives. I met with Carrie Hepting, our administrator controller, a week and a half back, and she was kind enough to put together a conceptual initiative of economic development, the next steps. I don't know if you want to touch briefly on that, Carrie?
Sure. So based on our past meetings and the directions that the board has chosen to go, ending our relationship with the EDA, there has been some discussion on what our next steps would be, what the county's involvement with economic development is going to be. There's been some discussion, do we get into a contract with MSU? We had SEMCOG come today to hear about, some of the services they provide relative to economic development. So I put together this memo with some potential next steps because I think the really important next step is the board needs to decide as a county government what you want your involvement to be in economic development, what you want your role to be, and then we can define how we get there with what entities. There seemed to be a general interest in reviving the Economic Development Corporation that was formed in 1978. So the steps I had listed in my memo here kind of go through what that process would look like of reviving that, getting those seats filled, and once those members are in place, defining what the county's role in economic development would be, what that would look like, and then structuring the programs from there. Before we start entering into agreements, I think it's important that the board decides what you want your role to be going forward in assisting in economic development.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for doing that, Carrie. I'll have to admit, with the whole 3 months of political experience I have at this point, I'm not quite sure how to get this board moving in a direction. If we need to have some workshops, I hate to say that, or if we need to consider this for a little bit and put it for the next meeting, or maybe I can propose some things on email. I know we can't discuss it on email. I'm not proposing that. Any commissioners have any ideas? Do we want to have legal at least look at 78-1 and see if that's still valid? I know Steve had some comments about that earlier. I'm looking for input. This is not Bob Felitz's EDA here coming forward. I don't intend to do that and don't have the capability to do that. So I'm looking for some ideas from the board.
Potentially, what we talked about, the 1978 EDA, if we could revive that and get members within the community, and now we've got something from SEMCOG that they could use their tools potentially as we go forward, looking at St. Clair County, if we had our own board rather than potential, not that they have a conflict of interest because you represent many people, but then we can use the tools just for St. Clair County for potential EDA and then get the members throughout the county to get to sit on that board.
Any other comments? Steve?
Well, my thoughts, when this came up, earlier in the year when the new board took a seat, I'd looked at this for quite a while, and more than a year. And I'd looked at, then more recently when the board changed, because part of the reason the board changed was because of what was going on with the way economic development was being done in the county. I firmly believe that had an effect on why you're sitting in that chair, and perhaps Miss Angie as well. But what I looked at was, because I'm not an investor, if I can't walk on it, I don't own it. I don't have investments. I'm not a developer. But I looked at I went to the new commissioner's school, and we saw what MSU presented, and I reached out to some people there, and then I got with you on that, and you followed up on it. But there are at least 4 multi-county entities in the county, or in the state, that do economic development differently. And what caught my attention that I really liked with MSU was community and economic development. The economic development that we had, I'll call it the Dan Casey EDA, it was strictly an investment club, strictly for investment, strictly for corporate interests. It had little sensibility for, say, the public piece of it. They wouldn't do FOIAs, they wouldn't do OMA, and it bothered me. I didn't like the fact that we funded an organization that would not work with us on being open, transparent, and accountable. That was a dead end for me. So here we are now with something different. The research that I did on that 78-1 ordinance, that particular structure was used for, like, the Harbor Club. It was used for a number of things from all the way into the late 80s as far as I got in my research over at the clerk's office. So I'd like, maybe one thing would be have legal maybe advise us on how some of that works, somebody with some development skills to see how that works. But the other thing, and I don't have time to do it myself, and I was trying to pawn it off on you, and you did quite a bit, was to reach out to these other organizations that have extension educators, that have directors that they've hired, that have staff in county, out county. Look at those, at least 4 other models that I identified, and see how they're doing it. And someone kind of made fun of the fact, well, they teach you how to sell, baked bread. I like fresh baked bread. It's better than battery skids or whatever they're making, or the next solar project. So, my thing would be to get some advice on what structures, see how the other structures are working, see how the other organizations are working, see what they're doing, how they like it, how they're doing it, and then kind of rip them off. See if it's something we want to do or not do. And we should do something. I mean, people thought, oh, you're going to get rid of economic development. And say, no, we're just going to do it differently. We wish EDA well and what they want to do. There's nothing wrong with having a strong corporate drive and a strong corporate interest for the Michigan Strategic Fund and the next Michigan Development Corporation and all those other things. That's all fine, but that's not something that really, to me, serves the public as much as it serves corporate interests. So that's where I was at. That's where I'm still at. That's where I was always at. We added the I-69 corridor piece. That was, in 2011, I was around then, and I voted against that for a lot of the same reasons. So I haven't changed much, but that's my 2 cents worth. I don't know if that it allows people to come alongside it or say it's, not a good way to look at it. But if we had maybe corporation look at what could we do with that 78-1, that Economic Development Corporation. It is a viable corporation. I did settle that with Gary Fletcher early on. I said, hey, this is out there. It's never been rescinded. He said, yes, probably it's still viable. The bylaws or the articles of incorporation, could be modernized and amended and, for some things. But then how do you use that as a tool? Do we use it in conjunction with metro planning? Do we have an extension educator piece? Do we use SEMCOG to blend that in? They're all things that we can use to do something good for the county. And that's really all we're trying to do is fashion something that's going to work well, that's accountable, that's transparent, and that the public can participate in. That's kind of where I'm at on it, so.
Thank you. Any other comments from commissioners?
Just because they're here, and I made a few notes, and I'll ask questions when I'll talk to Bob, but they make videos potentially for the city of Fort Huron, but we could have a quality of life video for the entire county. And by doing that, whatever company, ABC, whatever company that potentially would want to locate in St. Clair County, look, we got stuff in St. Clair County that nobody else have, especially our county parks, the waterways, and that kind of thing. And that could be part of our EDA presentation, trying to attract businesses. So.
That's excellent. I'll update the board real quick on what I have been doing. Dave talked about the tourism aspect, and I'm very interested in that video, so I will be contacting you. I spoke with Katie, who's in charge of tourism in our county, and we had a lengthy, lively conversation about promoting tourism. So that's definitely on the list. I've also spoken with several elected officials, including Anita Ashford, the mayor of Port Huron, and working my way down the river and inland. So kind of getting an idea of what those individuals would like to see, and including the rural townships. I've spoken to some organizations that have stepped forward interested in economic development, and I'll be bringing that probably to the next committee meeting in May, and hopefully have something firm from those individuals, if not a presentation. I think at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to have legal review Ordinance 78-1 to see if it is still valid, and I don't know if we need a motion to do that.
We don't do motions. My understanding, and you're the parliamentarian now since you're here, but under Robert's rules, we don't do motions at committee unless it's been set on for final action for a reason. So we could put it on for full board to then have that motion, something like that. Is that
true, or can I just ask you?
You know, it's been a while since I looked at the rules, but we do have rules, and go ahead.
So if you want legal counsel to look into that, you don't need a motion. You can just direct me as a board to have legal counsel look into it.
Okay, will you please do that? All right, that makes it easy. Thank you. All right. As you can hear, it's a little bit of a complicated activity, but I think we're making some inroads, and I think it's all going to come together at once. I should also mention I'm going to pursue Michigan State Extension again. I talked to an individual there, and she came before this board, and until things were resolved, she didn't want to influence the board's direction, and I respect that. But now that we've resolved our direction with the economic development
because they have
alliance.
some contractual connections with EDA perhaps?
I'm not going to say that. I'm just saying that I think that we could have a freer conversation at this point. So I'm going to revisit that and see just exactly what they can do. If there's some merit to bringing in an educator, because it sounds like to do this process right, to me, you're looking at a couple different directions. You hire a director to run this as a county department, or you bring it in as a community group, quasi-governmental, whatever you want to call it. We may need to gain some education in it, and that may be an appropriate way to do it. I don't know. I'm just going to investigate that. So for the next meeting, I'll have an update on that. Any other comments from commissioners on that? Okay, moving along, item number 6, old business, no old business. Item number 7, 7A, new business, Blue Water Chamber of Commerce membership renewal in the amount of $999. Can I have a motion?
Motion to send it to full board.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
A question, maybe for our administrator. Now, is the Blue Water Chamber of Commerce, are they involved with the convention center in some fashion? Aren't they involved with the management over there or no?
No.
Okay. So our management there is the fellow that we have, Tony something or other?
Gino.
Gino. So Blue Water Chamber, what the membership of $999 just generally, that's useful, I take it, or what do we get out of that exactly?
We are listed in their book of businesses, or if people come into the community, they come to the chamber to see what there is to do. So they would see our parks listed, the library listed, obviously a lot of government services, people don't come to visit our courts, they have to visit the courts, but, some of our other services.
It's called a warrant for their arrest. Yeah.
So it would be promoting those types of services.
All right, thank you.
They also offer educational opportunities that staff would be able to attend. And it's either
Really?
at no cost or low cost for
Is
membership.
that's just a county thing though, right? That's just for St. Clair County, right?
Well, it would be under like our membership, yes. So employees of the county.
Okay. I'm not real familiar with what they do, that's all. So, thank you.
Any other discussion on that? Okay, I believe we need a roll call vote. It's a contract, right, or membership renewal? No? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Item 7B, I-69 Next Michigan Corridor. I wanted to put this back on. I don't know if we want to make a motion first or start with discussion. I guess I'll make a motion. I'll start it off. I make a motion that we move to full board to withdraw the county from the I-69 Next Michigan Corridor. Is there a second?
Support.
Discussion.
I got a little. I didn't support it in 2011. I didn't think it was good for the county. I didn't like the contract. I went through it specifically, and at that time, I can't get the exact, but we did get some wording changed in the contract, even though I still did not support it. So I don't think it's a good fit for St. Clair County then, and I don't believe it is now, so.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Is this something that was, we've previously approved in the budget? Like last year, did we approve this in our budget, or would this be something new?
It's in the budget.
So it is approved in the budget, and you did just approve it, so we did pay the invoice,
Right.
even though we do have to give 6 months' notice. So I
that's a
guess I do want to clarify that.
Right, right.
That was a different issue. That was one of the things, I said, look, we have a contract with $6,500. We should pay our bills. So we pay
Right.
the bill. But then there's a trigger in the contract. If you're going to withdraw, you got to give them 6 months' notice. And we kicked the can down the road, I guess, till now to say, what are we going to do? Are we going to maintain membership or not? And so that's like putting it on to basically give them notice we're not going to continue our memberships. We don't get billed again next year, is basically.
Right, yeah.
I'm fine with that. I guess it's nice to hear that, like, we are giving notice, as we're reviewing what sort of memberships we have. We've already, approved them in the budget. All of these are approved in the budget. And so as we start to evaluate them this year, I think it's appropriate that we give them notice because they have counted on this money for this year. So I think, as we evaluate, to put people on notice that, maybe 2026 looks different, but we agreed to this, we're going to pay it.
See, and I would think too, let's say if you have it on for next month or in 2 weeks for final board action, to whether or not to give them notice to withdraw, that's fine. Even if we did notify to withdraw, we're still a member to the end of the year. You could change your mind once it gives me some leeway here. I wasn't in favor of it in 2011 for a number of reasons that still exist, to have this county umbrella. Like right now, City of Marysville, City of Port Huron, St. Clair Township, I know are members of that I-69 Corridor International Next Michigan Development Corporation, which is a statutory entity for certain purposes for economic development for, I think, mostly the state agenda is this whole, the way the state does economic development. So, my question for legal counsel, and I don't know if we ever got an answer on that, is so if we withdraw as the county, but yet we have Port Huron, we have Marysville, we have St. Clair Township. I've read the statute. I believe it just says you can be a member to form one of these, they call it a Act 7 entity. You have to be a, quote, municipality, which includes counties, townships, municipalities, things like that. So I think they can still be part of it and still function and use all the whatever functions they have, but I didn't want to cut the feet off from under necessarily. I mean, those, but I thought all the other entities, the Riley Townships, the Kanoke Townships, all the other ones that aren't members, why should that be under that umbrella, So that's kind of how I approached it, and I did feel it was impeded local control because my reading of the statute, when you're a member of one of these types of interlocal contracts, you can now exercise the authority of any municipality within the jurisdiction, and it takes it away from the local control, because quite frankly, I don't even know who's on the board. I think you looked at some of that. And I don't know who even runs that, quote, interlocal agreement. I never liked it. I never did, and I'll probably vote to not support that continuing a membership. But that's what I know about it.
I looked into it pretty heavily before the last meeting and then more so before this meeting. And
You're on it too. I put you on it.
I know. And then Commissioner Beeden is correct. We agreed at the last meeting to pay the bill for the year because we keep our obligations. There was a contract requirement to give them 6 months' notice, so we were kind of up against the wire. We paid the bill, and now we're looking at membership. What I found out is that per corporate counsel, Mr. Fletcher sat next to me at that meeting a few weeks ago and said that the only thing he knows that's been done with it was the Magna project, which is a worthwhile project, but in the time from 2011 till now, $6,900 a year, that was the net project from it. And then I looked at the issues with local control, and there are some strings that the other communities can exert to projects in this county from outside of our county, and I didn't really like that that aspect of it. So that's why I brought it up on this agenda to consider.
Just one last thing, because it's a $10,000 bill. Our appropriation is $6,500. I believe there's only 5 members within the 32 communities. Back in 2011, all 6 of my townships had resolutions in opposition to the I-69 corridor. So if you're going to have a partnership somewhere, I think we need to have the majority of the county on board. And this requires Deepwater, Airport, and Rail to be part of this. And I don't think it's representative of St. Clair County.
Any other comments? Okay, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
To
move it to the full board.
Aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Item 8, other community and economic development matters. I think we've covered most things going on. Item 9, information only. We have none. Item 10, a motion to receive and file packets.
I'll make that motion, receive and file.
Thank you. I have a second.
Support.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Item
Motion to
11, adjournment. Do I have a second?
Support.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.